Catch a threads exception in the caller thread? I'm very new to Python and multi-threaded programming in general. Basically, I have a script that will copy files to another location. I would like this to be placed in another thread so I can output ... to indicate that the script is still running. The problem that I am having is that if the files cannot be copied, it will throw an exception. This is okay if running in the main thread. However, having the following code does not work. In the thread class itself, I tried to rethrow the exception, but it does not work. I've seen people on here ask similar questions, but they all seem to be doing something more specific than what I am trying to do, and I don't quite understand the solutions offered. I've seen people mention the usage of sys.exc_info, however I do not know where or how to use it. Edit, the code for the thread class is below.
The problem is that thread_obj.start returns immediately. The child thread that you spawned executes in its own context, with its own stack. Any exception that occurs there is in the context of the child thread, and it is in its own stack. One way I can think of right now to communicate this information to the parent thread is by using some sort of message passing, so you might look into that. Try this on for size.
There are a lot of really weirdly complicated answers to this question. Am I oversimplifying this? Because this seems sufficient for most things to me. If you're certain you'll only ever be running on one or the other version of Python, you could reduce the run method down to just the mangled version, if you'll only be running on versions of Python before 3, or just the clean version, if you'll only be running on versions of Python starting with 3. Example usage. And you'll see the exception raised on the other thread when you join. If you are using 6 or on Python 3 only, you can improve the stack trace information you get when the exception is re-raised. Instead of only the stack at the point of the join, you can wrap the inner exception in a new outer exception, and get both stack traces with or.
The concurrent.futures module makes it simple to do work in separate threads, or processes, and handle any resulting exceptions. Concurrent.futures is included with Python 3.2, and is available as the backported futures module for earlier versions.
Although it is not possible to directly catch an exception thrown in a different thread, here's a code to quite transparently obtain something very close to this functionality. Your child thread must subclass the xthread class instead of threading.thread, and the parent thread must call the child_thread.join_ with _exception method, instead of child_thread.join when waiting for the thread to finish its job. Technical details of this implementation: when the child thread throws an exception, it is passed to the parent through a queue and thrown again in the parent thread. Notice that there's no busy waiting in this approach.
I fjorden så ser jeg bare, for jeg har sett sånn skip der, så 3 ving.